Kwai, ndaliweze Xavier Watso, Dalnamba, Nwege Odanak, Kole Payan Mzewit, Oleone. Hi everyone. My name is Xavier Watso. I'm an Abenaki from ONAC, and welcome to this special podcast for the First Nations Human Resource Development Commission of Quebec, or the FNHRDCQ for a shorter term, and an even shorter one, FNHR, that I'll be using from now on. So yeah, I'm your host, I'm your MC for this cool podcast, and we have the honor of welcoming three special guests. Richard Jalbert, the General Director of the FNHR. We have Kim Chevrier, who is of the Employment and Training Service Center of Quebec First Nation. Did I get it right?
Yes, you did.
Oh, good. And we have Wanda Lafontaine, Support and Partnership Coordinator. So, Kwai, hello and welcome to all of you.
Hey, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Before we start the podcast, for people at home or wherever they are in their car listening to this podcast, I'd like to know a little bit more about yourself. So maybe we could go around the table and present yourselves. We can start with Wanda right here to my left.
Hi, my name is Wanda. I'm Anishinaabe from the Abitibi region. I came to Montreal to study, and then I started working, and I ended up at the FNHRDCQ, so I'm there since 2000. And I've been working with the communities, all our communities, for all this time. And, well, that's it. Thank you.
Very interesting. Thank you so much, Wanda. Kim.
I'm Kim Chevrier. As you mentioned, I am from Quebec First Nation. I am Algonquin. I am in the region of L'Abitibi-Témiscamingue also, but in the most southern part of it, along the Ottawa River. A little bit about my background. I've been working in this field for about 30 years and been mostly working with First Nations, not just within my community, but in Ottawa itself. And Toronto, Edmonton, you name it. I've been across the country and basically just love doing what I'm doing and making sure that our people are getting what they need.
Love it. That's awesome. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
And Richard.
Yes, well, I'm Micmac from Gaspé. Gaspé is at the very end of the Gaspésie, on the tip. So if you drive down home and you pass, you're in the water. So you got to stop home. Yeah. So this is where Gaspé is. And if you think this is far, this is not far because here in Ottawa, it is far because everything started home in the Gaspésie. So remember this.
Right.
You guys are far from
yeah.
home.
So you're not far, we are. Right
yeah.
Now. Yeah.
So, and I was, when I was in Gaspé, I decided to get involved into the administration of my nation, my community. So I started working as an economic development officer, but then I said, listen, I'm going into politics. So I got elected Grand Chief of Gaspé for 3 mandates, where I did a lot of development, a little more than when I was economic development officer. Like we brought in all the fishing, and we brought in multiple tourism industries. So that being said, pretty proud of what I did for my nation.
Is that like 12 years, 3 mandates?
No, back then was 2-year mandates under the Indian Act. Now we have a different, we're a personal, it's personal community law, so now it's 4 years.
Okay. Yeah.
But anyway, 2 years is what was good enough to do a lot of business. So I'm pretty happy with that. But then I went working for Parks Canada for 20 years. After that, I went into school board as a director of secondary school, director of adult education, and director of services for adult education. This is where I got, a taste of developing and in labor and training and all that. So I said, I need to go do this for my people, for the indigenous people of Quebec. So I need to bring all these experience there. And I think I'm a little over 2 years in this executive director role. And I think we're on the right path. We're on the right path.
Wow, I love it. A lot of stuff. It's very interesting having you here with us. And I don't think I presented myself more than saying I was an Abenaki from ONAC, so I'll go with the last round the table turn. So my name is Xavier Watso. I was a teacher, a high school teacher for 16 years, I used to teach drama, and I loved it. I still do, but I quit last June. I just stopped because now there's this new path that opened up in front of me, and I'll be on television and playing in theater professionally. And I'm also a content creator, so you can see me on TikTok or YouTube. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now, and that's why I'm the MC. So yeah, there we are. The whole table has been presented. So before we dive into today's podcast topic, the WFP LMI project. Before my question, the WFP LMI project, Wanda, what does that mean?
It's a workforce profile and labor market information.
All right, so that'll be like the hot topic of our podcast. But before that, could you give us an overview of what the FNHRDCQ does, and why it's so important for our First Nations community, Richard?
Well, like I was saying in the introduction, while we're talking about employment and training, FNHRDCQ is one of the 5 commissions that's working under the hat of the AFNQL. In English, Assembly of First Nations of Quebec. Yeah. So, and it's a very, very important commission with a very, very important role. Our mission is to support the personal and professional involvement of our indigenous youth. And well, not only youth, people of all ages, really, is to help them. So we manage the training and skill programs in employment and training. So I guess what we're saying, our mission is very, very, important. Basically, if we vulgarize it, we make dreams come true. We take the indigenous people, evaluate their skills and what they want to do, where they want to go, and we make it happen. We bring the training to them. We give them the upgrading to get to this training. We even accompany the indigenous to the workforce. We find some jobs for them. We train also the companies, the organizations that are going to greet this worker, and we're going to train them into the cultural differences, into accepting positively these workers in their vicinities.
Wow, that's like a really big mandate. For how long the FNHRDCQ has been doing that?
Well, I was chief when we created this, and it's the late 90s. So it's about since then. It modified quite some in some ways. Always the same mission, but in regards to different programs and different demands. So we say this FNHRDCQ is the 2.0. So we think that we're going to be very successful in doing this. We're going to ride the stride of the shortage of manpower, but we need to put people in the right concept, in the right with the right values and at the right place.
Right, because the way I hear you talking about it, it seems like it's such an important organization, or what you're doing is so valuable, and it's a necessity, something we need to be doing. So I thank you for that. I'm impressed actually. Thank you. So Wanda, like I said, that's really like important work. Let's discuss like we said, the WFP LMI project. So can you give us like an idea of what this project is and why it's so significant?
Well, this project is to go and get the data into all our communities of people that are either getting ready to go to the labor market, or that are far from it and then they want to come to the labor market. It's to get data on also not just the workforce profile, but also on the information on labor market. So also for the companies and businesses that are around the communities to see what are their needs as well. Do they have a plan for new workforce that they will need, or do they need right now, and what kind of workforce do they need? So this is like really why we're doing this project, is to see what are the needs and what do we have as workforce as well in our communities, and if we don't have, then what can we do? What can we plan as trainings or employability measures? What can we plan so that we can get our members to go and work on the labor market?
So like Richard said, in the end, like it's to make dreams come true. So you find what's available and what's the needs, and then you try to make all this come true. That's great. Mm-hmm. So can you explain how doing that will like aid First Nation communities in addressing like their employment and training needs?
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, the way we see it is it's for the prosperity of our communities as well. Mm-hmm. It's to make sure that everyone can follow their own dreams, but as well as answer the needs of the community. Because we know that there's also needs that can be answered on the community as employment. So this is one of the facts that we want to answer with that, mm-hmm. with the project.
Well, it makes sense. I like it a lot. But we have the chance to have around the table Kim Chevrier, so I'll switch our focus slightly to you, Kim. You bring like a unique perspective to this whole conversation. Can you share with us like your journey and how you came to be involved in the employment sector within your own community?
As I mentioned earlier, I've been working in the employment and training field probably since the early 90s. Started here in Ottawa, working for the local friendship center, so the Odawa Native Friendship Center. I was mm-hmm. there for over 10 years. Worked strictly in employment and training, went in there as an administrative assistant, was mentored by a beautiful woman who's not here today. Mentioned her name, Eva Howard, but she was very detrimental in setting a pathway for me and realizing the importance of assisting our First Nation members within an urban setting. So from there, I was there for quite a few years, and I went out west. And when I was out west, I was also employed in the same type of profession. So I worked in another friendship center out west. I worked as a job development worker in southern Alberta. So with that being said, I think there's a lot of skills that I was able to accumulate over 20 years. And at that time, I think it was time for me to go home. So I really wanted to be able to bring my skills and my experience back to my First Nation in order to assist our members in achieving their goals and their dreams also. So back in 2017, I was hired as a comprehensive community planner. Mm-hmm. So having done that kind of work, I think it was a really good segue of me understanding our community. So with that, I understood what our needs were, what our goals were, maybe not specific to an individual member, but I could see where we wanted to see ourselves in the future. So I think employment and training is a really crucial part in being able to address those needs. So if we don't have the skills and the resources to access to get us from point A to point B, then we're basically stuck. Mm-hmm. So I went from being a CCP coordinator to becoming the new representative of our Employment Training Service Center as the Employment and Training Officer, Manager, Director, or whatever you want to call me. I wear many hats in there. But I've been in this position for about a year and a half now, and really enjoying what I'm doing. And that's basically why I do what I do.
I like it.
Thanks.
Yeah, like Richard, I think you said you moved out and then you found like some experience, you wanted to bring it back. So like Richard also said he wanted to bring some back to his community. I like that a lot. I don't have like, it's not trying to think about how I did that too, but it's not at the same scale. But I mean, I MC the powwow in my own community, so that was how I try to give back in my own way. So I think it's important. It's interesting.
But I think that Kim forgot her very crucial role. She helps us a lot at FNHRDCQ. She is also member of the table of representatives, so she's kind of my boss.
Oh, okay.
I'm one of the trustees.
Good to know.
Yes.
So yeah, given all that experience, Kim, how do you perceive like the current labor market for the First Nations, especially like in the regions you represent?
I think having been with the commission for a couple of years now and just being in this field for so long, coming back to community and working with other First Nations within the province of Quebec, it's really opened my eyes to this isn't just a local problem, it's also a regional problem. So I think it's really important that we address the needs of our communities, looking at our issues and our challenges, and often or not, we often face the same realities. So we're looking at things like language barriers, we're looking at mobility barriers, we're looking at access to training, funding in order to access that training in the first place. So I think, having said that, moving forward, we need to really look at this project, which I think is going to be detrimental in moving forward, and it'll be kind of like a pivotal step on making some kind of, I don't know if we're going to say catalytic change. So understanding who we are, where we come from, and where we want to go is going to give us a better understanding on how we're going to get there.
I'm almost speechless because I find it so interesting and so. I keep on coming back to important, but that's the thing. Having all those, all those notions in the end, like you said, is gonna push us to the next level. So that's why I think the project is so important. Richard, you mentioned that the WFP LMI project will help identify like current profiles of resources, trades, positions, and skills. Can you explain how it will be done?
Well, it's very crucial to be to have the most recent valuable information.
Yeah.
And this is how we could do our work. And listen, I got to tell you, this is very hard because we go and we need this information. And what I learned in my background at adult education is that you can't wait 5 years, 10 years to help somebody, because in adult education from Sec 1 to 5, you think it's 5 years. No, but they decide in the 2, maybe 3 first years. So you need the recent valuable information, and to do this, just the composition of FNHRDCQ is that we represent 27 communities with 27 realities with 31 service centers. So, in Pakwashipi, in the lower North Shore, it's not the same reality as Ganawage or Kwasasne or Quebec. So we have to compose with all that. So how do you think we can do this without getting these crucial informations? And communities with their background are some eager and touchy in sharing some information, right? Because data control is very, very important. And but we developed and honed a software that is totally 150% safe. It's proven, and these information will only be used to help them and never used out of context. So that being said, this is why the WFP LMI is very important. This is why these podcasts is really, really important to go and secure in sharing, and we need this information the fastest possible and recurrent. Like we have to go back and get, and this is how we think we're gonna succeed in this mission. And this is why I think that the modifications we did at FNHRDCQ with the positive teams that we have now on board, we are equipped technologically, human resource, we're equipped to master our mission.
Yeah, I like it. What we need, what's available. It's important to get those informations, but it's not always easy. Like you said, that might be one of your challenges to the project. But Kim, you wanted to add?
Yeah, I want to kind of add to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think part of the it's not a problem, but I think it's a realization that we have to look at relationships. We talk about communication. We talk about that relationship. I always say that we need to organize ourselves. Organize, I think, is just a fancy word for relationships. And when we look at collecting all of this data from our communities, there needs to be trust. If we don't have that trust, then how do we actually get that information together, right? So I think this project, the way they have it laid out and having each community have their own surveyor in their community is going to be really beneficial in being able to get more people involved. That engagement will be at a higher rate. So I think it's really, really important that we stress the fact that relationship is really, really important. Trust is really important. And that openness and transparency and communication is key to being able to pull this off.
Right, I hear you. So those two things are kind of like the challenges or the I don't want to say difficulties, but what you're going to have to find a way to go, not go around, but to work with them, because you want to have that trust. Is there maybe other things you think you'll be facing while implementing the project, and how do you think you'll overcome, or that's the main thing, only thing?
No, of course, Xavier. We're working hard, and we got teams working at every level. We're working with the federal government, with the SDC, working with the provincial government through the CCP and EMT, which I am president. We're working with the school council. We are accessing to all information of the labor markets around the province, and we got we're involved everywhere. So that is challenging, demanding, but we're making it happen.
Mm-hmm.
We're making it happen. Now we got to know. We got to know what's going on in the communities, what's their needs. Sometimes, you get a student that think that, or somebody that his dream is to be a pilot, and he thinks he'll never be a pilot. Well, let me say, we're going to find a way to get him the prereqs to get in, getting his training to get in, and we'll find a school that will accept him and get him flying. An electrician. There's some people in some communities out the lower North Shore that are more electricians than trained electricians, because they have the skill, and they had to find a way to connect themselves, fix themselves. Now we just give them the license to work. We just give them the training to get the permit to work. And we're working at every level with the CCQ. We're working at every level to get them on the workforce in a good job. When you got a good job and you feel good getting up in the morning and you feel good, and it's not just social welfare or something, and you are feeding your kids, you're taking care of your elders, you feel good about yourself. This is what we do. Make dreams come true, Xavier.
Mm-hmm. I like it, guys. It's as if you have the whole infrastructure behind you. You have the whole team. You have many teams. You're working with so many people, and you're doing everything you can now, because the thing you want is the information that'll put everything in motion, like the podcast, like you said. Everybody working together. So this is like the last step, I guess, to get there.
It's never a last step.
Sorry. I was going to say, maybe it's the last step in the pre-planning portion.
Oh, okay.
This is all pre-planning, right? So we're going to pre-plan, and then you go out with your plan, your action plan. And from there, we're going to, make sure that we monitor what's going on in our communities and address things as they come up, if they even come up. Mm-hmm. And then from there, you evaluate. And if you have to go back a little bit, then we go back a little bit and change it up if we have to, right? Mm-hmm. So whenever you're planning, there's always these steps involved. And as long as you take those steps, that you're going to ensure that you're covering all of your bases and nobody's being left out.
It's a constant job. It's a constant restarting.
Yeah.
So we're going to train the Indigenous worker now, and we're going to train their son and their daughters. So that's not a problem.
Love it.
I think it sets precedent too. It's if we're going to be able to help one individual in the community and see success, then it just makes that next person who didn't have that self-esteem or that motivation to actually move forward on a goal to say, hey, you know what? If they can do it, I can do it.
Mm-hmm. I like it. So now that we know what we need, like, Wanda, how can First Nations communities get involved into this project? Like, what role can they play?
Mm-hmm. Well, right now, we're working with a few communities already that have raised their hand and said, okay, we're in. Here are what we have as resources inside the community. And so what we want is, like, for other communities to raise their hands also, to say, all right, I'm in, this is how I can help, and we work together, as you were saying, trusting each other and working so that we can have a success with this project. So, because as Kim was saying, this is just like the first step. That's to what we're doing right now.
Well, it
is
looks
the
like there's
first
so
step.
much. That's why I thought that we were already at the finish line, but it looks like the race just started.
Yes, that's it. It's really to tell people, okay, this is what we're doing, this is what it is, what we're gonna get as results, and what we're gonna do. Also, I think what's important also to mention is that this is going also to be something where our communities can reappropriate their own data. So instead of having like, external organizations coming to do studies on our communities, we'll have our own data, and it will be their data. It's going to be in our software, as we were saying. It's their software. They're the only ones that have access to it. So this is something also that I think that's going to be really good for the communities, so that they have their own data and they can plan on their own, through autonomy as well. So this is something that we're working for. Yeah.
I think an added bonus to that is the fact that if we have our own data and, we can run with it kind of thing, and we're looking at, writing proposals and bringing in extra funding into our programs and services, this is going to be detrimental in knowing that we have the facts to back it up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I got to tell you a little story about, we're talking about the past. When I was adult education director of a center, there's this young man came in. His dream was to drive semi-trailer trucks. He didn't have the prereqs to get there, and couldn't get them in time. So I fixed up and helped him get the prereqs. I came in at night and worked with him because he was dyslexic. And then a few years after, I met him at a grocery store, and he tapped me on the shoulder, and he had his grandmother, and he had his baby, and he said, "I feed this baby because of you, sir, and I take care of my grandmother because of you." That's a drug. That's the paycheck. This is what we do. This is what we do, Xavier. And if we help one per community, our job is done, but we're not going to stop there, because we're addicted to helping them out.
I think as First Nations, that's what we do, right?
Yeah.
We are philanthropists. We help each other. We share our knowledge, right? So I think it's really important to say that even with this project, that nation to nation sharing is a big part of it, where we can actually reach out to one another. And why reinvent something if it's already happening and doing well in one community, and we can address that in our own communities.
Very inspiring. Thank you so much. Wanda, I was wondering, what impact do you hope this project will have? Like, I know we've been talking about how it's going to help everybody and achieve their dreams, but what do you think what impact it's going to have on the workforce, like planning, and on the development of partnerships within First Nation communities? Like Kim, you just said, different communities or different nations will be able to work all together. What other impacts, or can you expand on that?
Well, for example, if you have, like we were saying earlier about companies or businesses that are like working around the community, well, then they can have better partnerships because they know what the needs are. So the community can like get some training going on for specific job postings that they have, or if they know the company knows that they're going to have a big project with where they'll need like 10 electricians, for example. Well, our community, they will have this information, so they'll be able to plan their own workforce before, so that they can, and it's not going to be like other people from immigrations that come and work when there's already people that could be working right there in the community. They could be trained, and then they could work right away. So this is something that I think we'll be able to address in some part the comment on dit la pénurie de
The shortage of manpower. Yeah.
The shortage of manpower.
Yeah, but just to piggyback on what Wanda was saying there, the information is very crucial, but we are also working in gathering all the training facilities. We are, I am president of School Council in Education for Indigenous people, but also through all the school systems. We know every school that trains that people, so we know how to get our people in, and in what time, in the matter of time. So if, like Wanda was saying, if there's a need for 10 electricians, we will know through this project who is willing and want to be an electrician, where he is in his training, and where can we rack him, les reconnaissances des acquis, because it's in French. Ministère de l'Éducation is in French. So we can take these experiences and change them through this system as credits, and to get them in the workforce faster.
Right away. Wow.
So we are really up to date in all these information. So this is why this project is very crucial for us, that the communities open up their information bank, that share this with us, because this is the way we're going to be able to succeed.
We can use the cliche, we're going to bridge the gap, right? So as long as we know what we have in our communities and what we need to address in terms of what our needs are as individual communities, then we can also look at the region of Quebec, and maybe not just Quebec, but across the nation itself, and say, what are the trends? What's happening within Quebec that we need to address and we need to train our people in, so that we're going to be able to fill these positions in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, right?
We've talked about this a little bit. We touched on this subject during the podcast, because it seems like there's such a big team, and you're talking to so many people, and you have different organizations that you're already in or president of, and it looks like a big machine already working. But like you said, we're a little bit at the beginning, the pre-planning phase, and when Richard, you said. We want to know, so like that person can become an electrician if we need him, and it can go fast. So I was wondering, what is that kind of timeline? When do you think, let's say we get the information, when do you think, Wanda, when do you think we will be able to make that person become an electrician? Like, what's the timeline for the whole project?
Well, for the whole project, just for now, to
for
get
the
the
planning
information,
phase,
to get the information, we're going to do it in the fall.
Okay.
Normally, beginning of January, we should have finished all the gathering of the information, and then we'll go into the analysis of it, and then once we have the analysis, then we'll be able to see, okay, what are the needs, either for the workforce or for the labor market information. And then we'll be able to see and plan, like, what's the next step for our communities. Each community will be able to plan their own as well. But this project is a project that will go on for 5 years. So the first year is very crucial, because we need to have a really big base of information, of data. And then for the next years, we'll see with the communities, what do they need as information? What do they want as information? And we'll go and do the next surveys with the information that the communities want from us.
But I need to add on something here, though, Xavier,
Yep.
in your question. We're talking about this project, the importance of getting the information, the open up of the communities to get the information. That's right. And we're talking about the pre-planning phase of it. That's right. But I need to correct something. We are working now. If this podcast can reach any student or any potential student, he can come to us. We're giving services right now. This is not sine qua non of starting. We are helping a lot of students right now. This is to help more.
Oh, okay.
So we're doing this job now. So if this podcast reaches out, any student, I'm gonna look, come and see us. We can help you right now. So,
But this will just be like at a bigger scale.
Well, bigger scale.
That's okay.
And I think it's more than students, people who are in adult ed, or
Right.
who are finishing high school and so forth. There's also people out there who are looking for career changes.
Yeah,
you
so it
know?
could be like 40, 50, whatever.
So it's not because we're in the pre-planning, like Richard says, that we're sitting stagnant. No, all of these things are going on at the same time, but at the same time, we're still trying to help that individual who wants to become that electrician.
Exactly.
And knowing how to access apprenticeship. You know, what are the steps to become an apprentice? All of this information we have on hand, but I think we'd be better equipped if we understood the process even better, and that we can work with these institutions that also say, we've got members in our communities who want to be electricians, plumbers, tradespeople, construction workers, all of these different trades that are in high demand right now, that we need to have a better relationship with these institutions, which I think this project is going to be really beneficial.
I understand a lot well, better now, and it's really interesting. But like Richard said, the goal is also to help people right now, even though the project is in pre-planning, help people during the project, but also help their children, like you said, because it's going to be something that's going to be going on.
Exactly, and we got FNHRDCQ is we don't discriminate for age or whatever. We help anyone. Well, look. I just got hired with a career change to come here. So, I mean, you know, there's no discrimination. And it's an important fact what Kim was mentioning, that some people want to do a career change and need just a little bit of training.
Wait,
we're there.
I just changed career. How about me? Can we talk about after the
we can talk about it.
Oh, that's perfect. Well, thank you so much, Richard, Kim, and Wanda. Thank you for taking the time for discussing the WFP LMI project with me today. We're looking forward to see this become real this autumn, this fall, while you
coming to fruition,
to see it happen. I'm really excited. I like it a lot, and I think it might change a lot of things. It's a very, very cool thing y'all are doing. So thank you so much.
And thank you for having us, and thank you for all the work you've done with us, Xavier. But I think we should make a date, make another one, and give you results. We'll give you results in a couple of whatever. Wanda's
December, January, something like that. Yeah, let's do a part 2. Let's do this.
Let's do a part 2. Let's make a date.
And then I'm already impressed by what you're gonna do. Imagine when you get the results of this thing. This is gonna be so cool.
Yeah, good.
Thank you, Kim, for being with us.
Yeah, truly enjoyed being here today, and hope this is gonna help the people in our First Nations and make our communities even stronger.
Very interesting having your expertise around the table. Thank you
so much.
Thank you, Wanda, for being here.
Thank you.
And I'll see you next time around the table.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks. Goodbye.
Ole,